Welcome back to 21 Minute Reads with me, Maya D. This is kind of like my virtual book club because in these 5 minute or so videos, I share with you my takeaways from my current reading. Right now, that is African Dance, an artistic, historical, and philosophical inquiry edited by Dr. Karyama Welsh. As a part of the Read 21 and 21 challenge, I'm reading 21 minutes per day, every day, as an action of self love, an investment into myself, and as a way of providing myself with some consistency in an ever changing world. Hoping that you will join me along in this journey by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and dropping some comments down there in the comments section so that we have actual dialogue. Having in mind that while I have several decades of experience as an educator, performer, and researcher, I'm not the know-all be-all for this book. I'm simply providing a space for dialogue. Well, this week I read pages 24 through 64, and here are my 3 takeaways. Let me get my notes. Takeaway number 1, interpersonal micro practices. Well, this term by Judith Hamera was introduced in our series in an earlier book, also edited by Dr. Karyama Welsh, which was Hot Feet and Social Change. The term interpersonal micro practices describes the American relationships that are structured, organized, and built on the West African dance floor, but carry out into other aspects of those participants' lives. Well, in this book, Robert W. Nichols describes what I feel like is the ancestor of that behavior or that effect. When he describes the interconnectedness of social values, musical values, he writes, it's a bit of a long quote, so bear with me. As a consequence, full participation requires initiation into cultural conventions beyond the mere translation of drum text and interpretation. Working knowledge of the cultural calendar, social structure, esoteric love, and socialization processes may be necessary. Participation in traditional dance, in effect, demonstrates the extent of an individual's enculturation. So, I recently interviewed Kibibi Ajanku of Sankofa Dance Theater, and she described her early West African dance training, which would have been around the 1970s, to include what she described as a wraparound method. That meant that there were cultural learning experiences that happened outside of the dance space, but built these relationships that she still has today. I propose that the interpersonal micro practices is an effect of the enculturation and wraparound method that benefits those individuals by providing them, one, with encouraging embodiment, technique, and execution, but also it promotes wellness in the areas of emotional and social wellness. That was a lot. Takeaway number 2, Conservationist. The quote reads, The trouble with it is that its focus has been just that, preservation, when conservation is what is needed. Conservation implies continuity in a living tradition. So preservation stagnates while conservation allows for growth. I would go as far as to say some of our legends, like Kibibi Ajanku, like Amani Payne, like Baba Chuck Davis, like Melvin Deal, served as conservationists. Through their intense research and bodies of work, they've created and inspired current artists, current trends, and future generations. Takeaway number 3. Had to flip the page. Stultification. That's a funny word. I just learned this word in this reading this week. So, preservation leads to stultification. The quote reads, Preservation activities have been discipline-based and oriented to the academic community. So this idea that you're going in and you're going to take this thing and you're preserving it and you're putting it away, right? Versus those conservationists that I mentioned, those artists that were working in the thing and helping to continue the thing growing, but not necessarily aligned with the academic institution in a more, air quote, traditional way. Here's another example. While purchasing a piece of art, an instrument, or a piece of clothing, and placing it in a foreign museum does help in preservation, commissioning an artist to make an instrument and teach you how to make that instrument and then commissioning that same artist to make additional instruments that can then go to the institution where you plan on using that cultural technology would help promote the conservation effort, because that attention, that focus, that demand of that item could encourage growth and development of said item. Did you remember to hit like, and did you remember to subscribe? Because that was all 3. Stay blessed, spread a good word, and I'll see you again soon.